Welcome into the Hump Day midweek edition of the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller here on day number 5 of the situation in the Middle East. We're going to talk about the chart structure today, and I got to say, I am so waiting for whenever this chart changes its complexion, aren't you? Boy, we could sure move off of some of these things. Couple of exact aspects. First of all, one already happened, 2:20 this morning. The sun was opposite Chiron. We do need to separate the mundane from the personal, don't we? So what might happen in the mundane and how these might affect the big picture are certainly not how we might choose to participate in these aspects. Now, this sun opposite Chiron also brings the north node in because the north node is just 6 degrees away. So that's at the table as well. Very karmic here. But in our own lives, have you had in the last couple of weeks stuff come up or situations, synchronicities, where you could have, if you went under the surface of it, if you stopped long enough to think about it, where you are really facing some old stuff in the closet? I'll give you a personal example. I'm narrating a book for Fred Dodson, and it has some dark areas in it, and I was responding and reacting to those dark areas. So I emailed Fred. We had an exchange about some options of how to get through it. And what I did then is, and the reason I said stop long enough, because here I'm in this go mode, right? And I had to stop, and yesterday morning I took some quiet time first, got myself centered, took a journal out, just started to capture some thoughts in general. Then I used the astrology consultation chart. So at that moment when I got ready, I put up the transits, and then I put my natal chart over that. I've done this a couple of times when I've just needed guidance, and that chart opened up and just flooded the answers. So not only did I get the answer of what to do about the project, but I also got the answers of what to do about me. Because it's a mirror, right? Everything is a mirror. And that was one of the big questions I was asking is, what is it about this situation that I'm reacting to? And I mean, granted, I don't want to bring that kind of stuff into my space. I know you guys are thinking, what is Fred writing that's so bad? It's a book about reptilians. It's a book about good versus evil. And he goes into the dark side for a while. And, you know, when Fred does this, he does it in a way that by the time the chapter is finished, you get the point. He more than proves his case. And it's that repetition. I'm like, could we just do a couple of stories? No, he wants it all. So that was part of what was going on. But then I come back to myself. What's that reaction? And that's what's going on with these nodes. I mean, it's like the last couple of weeks as Mars has moved toward, over, and now beyond the south node, it's like it has been just firing off all this old stuff that we might have otherwise thought we were past. Wow, where did that come from? Well, it's looking ahead at Scorpio. There's deeper stuff still in there. And that's what's punched in the chart today. Now Mars is at that critical and amplified 29-degree mark, and then, just after midnight Eastern time, it moves into Scorpio. And that's home for Mars, because Mars ruled Scorpio until they discovered Pluto in 1930. So Mars is a trigger, and now it's sitting at that hair trigger point, moving from Libra into Scorpio. 29 degrees makes the planet more intense. We know that as it crossed over that south node, it was sitting on the shadow side of Libra because it started a war, the shadow side. But now as it moves into Scorpio, the question becomes, what side of that sign will it show up on? I know if you've ever dated one, you're saying, is there a positive side of Scorpio? We'll find one. We've got 6 weeks coming up. We'll find it. I've been looking for 63 years, so why not? We'll take another lap. But I'll tell you, on the mundane, I'm concerned here because of what we're coming into it with. I just don't see anything to lock onto to flip the coin right now to the positive side. So we're left with the rage and the vindictiveness and the intensity and the passion, and we don't need more of that right now. But it gives us also something to pray about, right? Because we really truly can look at this aspect and we can flip ourselves to the positive side. The opposite sign of Scorpio is Taurus. Taurus is all about peace and serenity. There is our prayer. But let's just don't say, oh, let's pray for peace. And this is even applicable in our own life. Why? Because we know that there are deeper issues underneath not having peace. Scorpio. So yes, we're on the higher side of the timeline. That's where we want to be. That's you and I want to be praying for peace, but don't just pray for peace. Pray for the structural changes that could really, truly produce peace. In other words, we can't skip over the deeper stuff. That's represented by the nodes and Chiron, which are right there. This is not about kumbaya. This is about, can you face your Pluto? Can you face your really deep stuff? You and me, yes, and collectively. And get ready, because the eclipse is going to be even more juice on this fire. I mean, we could bring this home in the context of a relationship. When have you been in a relationship and there was conflict and tension? And maybe it even got explosive. Then there was a little pause and a timeout, and then you patched things up. You hugged, you apologized, you said, I'll do better. But the underlying issues never got addressed. They got patched. How long did it take before they came up again? And if they kept getting patched, then you ended up divorced or split up. Now, we do have one other little positive bonus here, and that is that the moon is wrapping up its Virgo transit and will be in Libra tomorrow night. We'll take what we can get, and that might help, at least for these first couple of days. So for all of us, we're still feeling Libra. We have the moon coming in. We have the sun in there already. We have Mercury in there. So our mind is thinking Libran as well. Those are positives we can lock on to. So the message here for us is to be sure first to take the pause and go into that new world of self-discovery. More exciting growth. And then if you need it, just take a good old Taurian bath. Light some candles, get some bath salts, put some nice music on, and chill out. All right, guys, have a good hump day. I'll see you back tomorrow. We've got more. We'll start talking about the eclipse.